Welcome to Beer Money Pulling Team. Sit down, shut up, and hang on. Hey everybody, welcome to Let's Grow Pulling. It's Monday, September 26th. Charles Posch, can you raise your hand, Charles? Ryan Rusink, say hi, Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
You have your hat on backwards, Roos?
Yes.
Okay. Richard Eberhard, how are you tonight, sir?
Doing fine. Yourself?
Good. So what do we got coming up? I feel like we had you on earlier this year, back in June, and now we're coming back with the 7th annual Fall Smokeout Truck and Tractor Pull this Saturday, October 1st. Can you kind of tell us about this event, Richard, and maybe how it came around, some history behind it?
Yeah, this is a backstory of actually one of our local boys. Ended up fighting childhood cancer. One of his dreams was to always have a pulling tractor. So a local club around here, our classic super stock tractors, got with Make-A-Wish and actually built him a classic super stock tractor.
Is this a Survivor tractor?
Yes, it is.
Oh, the Gold Hood 856, right?
Yep.
Or I think it's gold. We've seen this at Gordyville, haven't we, guys? This tractor?
Potentially.
I think so. Charles, is it ringing a bell with you?
It's not, but that weekend tends to be a blur.
No, it's fine. Keep going, Richard. Sorry, but I wanted to grab that. I'm gonna go find it. Is it Survivor Pulling Team, maybe?
So yeah, Survivor. So things worked out well for him. He actually is doing well now that he's married. He's actually on the fair board here at Harrison County with us. So his parents decided to take and try to do something to give back. So they created the Smokeout. And the deal went through is we pretty much help a lot of local people going through cancer, really bad stuff. And it pretty much is a hit. They raise a lot of money. They give a lot away. So us on the fair board, we've kind of give them a hand and put it on at the grounds and try to get through, help them with all the details. Now they have bowed out a little bit. They still participate, but we've actually got Pulling for a Cure. They pretty much took over, made a committee, and now we've got plenty of people jumping on and trying to continue on with this deal.
Having two events in one location that's a lot of work, Richard, every year. I mean, but it makes you feel good because you're using the facility. But how do you keep all your volunteers from not going crazy?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people to get together to make it all happen. It's tough.
No, that is for sure. If you just joined us, Let's Grow Pulling live Monday night, September 26th. We have Richard Eberhard with us. He is helping put on, or he's a promoter behind the Fall Smokeout Truck and Tractor Cancer Benefit Pull this Saturday, October 1st. And if you're familiar with the Survivor 856 tractor, a classic super stock out of Ohio, that's how this kind of all got started. I'm going to go searching for some pictures here in a little bit. Richard, can you kind of take us through some of the classes and then maybe some local pullers or how these classes are picked for your event?
And it is mostly all local guys. Pretty much our county, we're saturated with a whole lot of pullers as we did through the fair. We do actually, 4 days events through there trying to cover everybody. So this is a deal where we are going to do, I believe, 10 classes Saturday night, 9,500 hot farms, the local boys that run those, and of course, classic super stock tractors because they're who started it. the trucks that I run, the super stock 4-wheel drives, the 8,000 2.6 diesel trucks, 8,000 3.0 limited pro diesels, 12.5 farm stocks, 6,500 V8s, 8,000 4x4 run up Jabrung, 6,200 pro stock trucks, and some semis. And even got some local stock semi guys going to come and play, just play.
They always put on a good show, and the crowd always can relate to that. I think Charles understands the announcer too. I think everybody in their life has either driven a semi truck or has somebody who's driven truck for a living, and they really trace that brand loyalty, like a Chevy or a Ford or a Dodge thing. And you can usually get the crowd pretty excited with stock semis. They put on a good show. So the classic super stock tractor, Charles, that's a class I think is super cool because you see a lot of color in it. What are the Richard? Do you know the exact rules on that? I know it's like a year of sheet metal, right?
Yeah,
like,
I do not. I have not kept up on their rules, but you're right. They do a yearly limitation, but I do not know their rules of where they cut off.
No, that's okay. I'm going to bring up a class of them here. This is from Lisbon, Ohio, last October, so people can kind of know what we got here. So,
and then to add to the smoke out. We actually had another local guy. He born and raised around here. His dad was showed cars, classic cars. So now he has turned around, and the morning and before we start pulling, he has created a very large car show. So we'll have a bunch of cars here for everybody to walk around. We make this a whole day event. They'll start 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and they can have something to do clear till midnight.
Yep. So we're seeing some video here of some classic super stock tractors now. Again, I don't know the exact rules on them, but maybe you are watching. You can jump on here and let me know. That'd be great. I can put that up on the screen, but this just kind of shows you that. The car show, that's neat when you can make a full day out of it, Richard, for your fans. And some of the pullers, too, they get there early. They can go around and check out some of the classic cars as well.
Yeah. And this year, a little addition. We started a little bit last year. They threw in a toy show. So in one of the buildings on the grounds, you can find little farm toys, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I've not toured it yet, but yeah, they're a little bit for everybody.
No, that's great. That is great. How many years has this been? You said, okay, 7th annual. Wow. I was going to ask you, and I'm just staring at the poster right in front of my face here. So Here is the Survivor tractor that kind of started it all. So I wanted to make sure I caught this. So pretty neat. So this tractor was put together when he was diagnosed with cancer, right? And he always wanted to pull this tractor?
Yeah, he was in the hospital, and they thought things were going to go kind of bad. And one of the Make-A-Wish things was he always wanted one of these. So his dad was pulling around or messing with those. Their family has a farm dealership. So those guys got together, and everybody had extra parts laying around, and they created a tractor. And I mean, it's one of the best things you ever seen. They presented it to him here at the fair, and next thing we know, here comes a smoke out.
From a puller point of view, are you able to get pretty decent numbers in the classes this time of year? I know it's kind of hit or miss, Richard.
This year may be tough because everybody, you guys pull the same as we do. My God, to find parts. But I think within 2 years, we were right about 100 hooks in the night.
Oh, wow. That's a good
show. So it's usually a good turnout. And like I say, it's one of those deals where most of the guys, they're all here for the same thing. They'll come put a show on, never take a prize money home.
And I know Roos and Charles know this as well, but like a lot of times with these fall pulls like this, it's hit or miss. Sometimes you get lucky and the guys aren't in the field, and all of a sudden, bang, you get like 20 or 30 extra vehicles that you didn't plan on. And then sometimes it's, well, you're going to get the people that you know, but some people had to stay home. But like you said, this year, a lot of it can be because of parts as well. So here we go. There it is. Jeremy Yante's classic super stock 7700. If a competitor moves more than 200 pounds of weight forward, that vehicle's drawbar may be remeasured and vehicle reweighed at the discretion of the official. Age of the tractor, 1980 or older, but including total run of that model. Age of driver, 16 years or older. Under 18 must have parent or guardian consent. Same rules as PPL, and it's an 18.4 tire on there. So I just think this is a neat class. The first time I got exposed to this class was at Clint Tucker's event, the What Smoking Winter Nationals, and just good. I like to see all the color in it. It mixes it up. So for sure, I'll bring that poster back up again. How'd your season go, Richard, with the trucks? I know you were working hard on them that night before your guys' fair pull. They were actually putting them together their night before, if I believe correctly. So.
Yeah, they were. The white truck that I drive, that get her done.
Is Richard freezing on us, guys?
Seems to be, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to kick him off for a second and have him come back with some better things. Rye or Charles, you got any more questions for Richard if he comes back on?
No, I didn't really.
Okay, Rye?
Well, we got to ask what he'd steal and go pulling with.
Absolutely. I'm sure he'll get back on here in a second. These classic super stocks are fun to watch. And for those of you hopefully can head out to Cadiz, Ohio this weekend. I know they had a really good fair pull earlier this year. I think they had a couple nights of it. Hopefully Richard will come back and have some better internet there. Again, they got, let's see here, poll starts at 3 p.m., gates open at 7 a.m. Here he's coming back on right now. Classes are 95 Hot Farm, 77 Classic Supers, 4x4 Super Stock trucks. That's a class Richard pulls in. 2.6 smoothbore diesel trucks, USA East rules, 8,000 pound 3.0 limited pros, 12.5 farm, 6,500 V8s, 8,000 run what you brung. That's a 4x4. They mix the gassers with the diesels. I've seen that video on YouTube before. 6,200 pro stocks, and then semis OSTP rules. Get all this money. It's charitable. Hey, Richard, there you're back, buddy. So
I can see me. I just can't see you right now.
that's okay. It's not really much to look at anyway. Let's be honest.
Yeah, we're still as ugly as we were when you saw us before.
Except for Charles, he's our pretty face on Let's Grow Pulling. So
I feel like warmed over dog food tonight, but thank you anyway.
Thank you. I'm gonna put Richard's phone number in the comment if any of you have any questions, and we'll keep jamming on this a little bit. So, yeah, Richard, kind of. I want to wrap things up with you here, and then Ryan always asks a question to all of our guests, but kind of give us the highlights again of all the events for those maybe people just jumping on the show.
This is a benefit. Like I say, we make a whole day out of it. It's a car show in the morning, a toy show in the building, plenty of good food. Our local farm bureaus, they do a lot of food, 4-H clubs, then a nice 10-round pull for the evening. Everything that goes through all gets benefit to help any local family that's in need. Goes directly to families. And like I said, they've given away a lot of money in the last few years.
Oh, that's great. Richard, can you hear us?
I'm still, yep.
Okay. Bruce, go with your question.
All right.
buddy.
All right, so I got two questions for you, actually. One of them is promoting related. I want to know what the best piece of advice you've ever been given as a promoter is. So, like the one piece of advice that you would pass along to somebody else who's doing something like this.
Well, I've never been considered as a promoter myself, but that's what we do through the fair board. But the biggest is don't be scared to ask other people how to make things work. Communications, talk to a lot of people, because there's a lot of people doing it that will take and get you in the right direction.
You want to shout out anybody who's been particularly helpful for you? Go for it. Floor is yours.
Not really. Like I said, just draw blank. But the committee of this fall smokeout, all these people, they take and work really hard to make this happen.
Good deal. So the other question, the easier one, is if you could steal the keys to anything and go pulling with it for a weekend on the house, you break it, big deal. They're paying for it, not you. What would you take the keys to, and where would you pull it, and why?
Oh, I'd love to be on top of one of the little mini rods. You get beat around the cage. I mean, them would trick your trigger. There ain't no doubt. Like, get out on a national. I mean, I'd like to try one of them.
Where would you pull it?
I would probably west somewhere. I'd say get out Wisconsin, somewhere out that way. Get into a national show.
Fair enough.
I want to bring up your Facebook page real quick, Richard. We'll buzz through that while we wait for our other promoter to come on. Give me a second. Bruce, I love you've been doing that the last couple of weeks, the promoter question. I think that's awesome. So thank you for that. So
well, we're supposed to be helping other promoters get their, learn and do better. And so that's one way that we can do that. And, Richard alluded to it when he talked about don't be afraid to ask for help, because there are people who will tell you how to do things. Richard's got examples in his own life. Me just sitting around, I've watched people come up to, Don Salama and ask him, how do you do this with your show? And I've watched Don take 10 minutes and explain it. So that's a good thing. That's stuff that we like seeing.
Oh, it's huge. Because if you can go to school on what somebody else has learned and you actually listen to it, that's a great thing. That is a great thing. Richard, besides your class, what are some of your favorite classes are you looking forward to this weekend?
The big 3-0 class around here, that 3-0 diesel, them guys are putting on a big show right now. I mean, they're finishing up their season. They'll do. Hopefully the 8,000 round what you brung. We've seen Hodges here before. So hopefully we'll get a couple of those guys come around, because they're always nice to watch those big diesels around.
Now, Richard, are any of these classes points classes, or are pretty much everybody's points races done out there by you?
We're close to being done to the end of the season on points. And we don't really like to do the benefit as any points, just for the fact that we're just trying to raise money for a good cause. So we don't run a big high dollar show. Just come out and have some fun and let's raise some money to give away to some people who really need it.
No, totally agree. And what's the cost to get in again? $5?
$5.
Man, you can't beat that with the big stick, Richard. That's awesome.
No.
So how's
there's such a line of sponsors. The people open their wallets and give to this with not much question, because again, it goes to a lot of their neighbors that are in trouble and things are a bad way. That's what it's for. You're going through the worst thing you ever think about. Somebody that's told you have cancer. So yeah, it doesn't take long to raise a decent amount of money.
No, good. There's the sponsors up there on the screen. The Facebook is pulling for a Kira truck, a tractor pull, and I put that link in the comments if you want to go and give that Facebook page a like. So, well, Richard, we're going to let you go. Thanks for coming on tonight. Good luck this weekend. And last question is, how's the weather looking for this Saturday?
They're saying there could be some rain showers come in late in the evenings, but the mornings should be good. We're still 70s for heat and only in the 50s for cold, so we're not too bad.
Good deal. Richard, thanks for coming on tonight. Good luck this weekend, buddy.
Thank you, guys. We'll see
you, buddy. Good luck.
Yeah.
So the Hillsdale, Michigan promoters are not on yet, Charles, but I want to start talking about that. And I don't know, you might know a little bit about this. Bruce, is this close to your old stomping grounds at all?
No, this is a bit of a hike.
Okay. But I know Doug sent them a message, but we at least want to cover it. We have Jim and Paul Holman coming on at 8:30, and I just want to make sure we touch about this all. Charles, this has to be getting to the end of the Wolverine series or year, don't you think, bud?
Yeah, traditionally this is the last real hook at that level in state. I mean, there'll be some club level stuff going on yet, but this one's the wrap up. It's been a 2-day show. to end that fair week down there for a long, long time. It's kind of a cool event to go to because it is the last one in the area. It's a last chance to see some guys. You'll get some guys who will actually travel to this one to get that one last run in for the season. It's a few years ago, they moved the track. It's its own dedicated track now in the infield. They used to pull on the horse track, which made it quite a I know the pullers kind of hated it, but it had a lot of character to go watch a pull there because they had to contend with the loose material and the fact that it was sloped pretty hard to the left and seeing what the different approaches were going to be and how they were going to tackle that challenge. But they don't have to worry about that anymore. They can play on a flat surface with actual, good clay dirt in the center now. Usually a good program. And it's typically the last one because after this, your chances of having a rain out on any given day through October just skyrocket exponentially. So that kind of does it in.
Do you know, I noticed this is a Thursday the 29th and Friday the 30th. Charles, is there any reason for that or?
I think it's just the way they've always done it. It's historically been end of the week like that.
No, I'm just so used to Friday, Saturday.
I think they do have something with their grandstand for like Saturday night that, finishes off the fair. That's, I don't know if it's a concert or what.
Sure. No, and that's fair. I just wasn't sure if you knew anything about that. If any of you are headed over to Hillsdale, Michigan this Thursday or Friday, please type in the comments. Let us know. Thursday, 7:00, Super Farm Tractors Mods, 2-wheel drive trucks. And then Friday, Super Farm Tractors Mods, and then Hot Farm Tractors. So this would be Region 2, right, Charles? Or would it be state level Wolverine?
This is, I believe, Region 2 now. For years and years and years, it was a state level hook, but now it's regional.
Okay. So the interleague points now, are these going against next year already? Is that how that works?
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Okay. Gotcha. I'm trying to find their Facebook page right now. So
2-wheel drives is kind of, if you were used to going there years ago, you never saw the 2-wheelers on the horse track. They basically refused to pull there. Now that they got that infield track, you get a chance to actually see the 2-wheel drive trucks there, which in the past you wouldn't.
You guys getting some rain up there because they shut down the kids' pedal pool? Has it been wet, Charles?
Yeah, it's rained here most of the day today. Yeah.
Okay. So it's Region 2, Tim Fortin says, and then Randy Proctor says monster trucks are Saturday. So
got it.
I'm going to bring up the old Facebook page right now. I found it. I'm going to throw that in the comments as well. Let's see here. And we are going to talk about J.R. Collins as well. I'm not forgetting that. I have that on my notes, but I wanted to get right into our interviews tonight. It's important that I did that because we got, like I said, Charles lined us up with the Holman brothers, and that's not every night. Every Monday night we get to talk to legends, and that's pretty cool. Very, very cool. Let's see here. So HillsdaleCountyFair.org. Here's their website, guys. Fair season's wrapped up in Wisconsin, Charles. You Michiganers go a little harder. So
yeah, this has got to be one of the last ones. There can't be too many after this. Like I say, the weather takes a real turn, in the next week or so. Really, actually, it already has. We went from 70s and 80s and sunny to Thursday. It dipped in. It didn't even get out of the 50s, and it's cold and raining.
Looks like it's a full week. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big fair. They do all right down there.
They have a nice Facebook page. So I like that. Order grandstand tickets now. So Bump and Run Demo Derby Sunday. That was last Sunday. Then the Monday, the tough truck and car races. And then here's our NTPA truck and tractor pulls. That's what we're promoting here for these guys. The Demo Derby. And then Saturday, I think, was the Monster Truck, somebody said. So yeah, Monster Truck show. That makes sense on that. Very good. Very, very good. See if I can find some pictures on the Facebook page of the poll. Charles, when's the last time you've been to this one, bud?
I'm dating myself here. The last time I went to Hillsdale, I think, was 2002. It's been a minute.
Ooh.
Been a minute. Been a minute. Let's ask the Holman brothers if they've ever been to Hillsdale, Michigan. So, hey, guys.
Good evening.
Have you ever been to Hillsdale, Michigan for the truck pulls?
Yes.
Oh, Mick Broughton's jumping in right away. So I knew that would do him. He can relate. So, guys, we're honored to have you. We do this every Monday night. We've been doing it for years, but it's not every Monday night we get legendary pullers on here. So, thank you for coming on. We don't have any money. If we did, we'd send you some of it, but not all of it. But just it means a lot that you're on here. And I'm gonna let Charles take care of this. But back in 2016 in Bowling Green, I bought a 4-play truck and your fire gloves, and I gave it to my dad. So when you drink whiskey, you'll do a full wish for a truck. So I want to thank you guys for donating that. And but you guys signed it, and you signed your fire gloves. And my dad has a man cave down his place in Iowa. So I'm honored to have you guys on our show, and I'm just, super, super excited. Everybody, please ask questions. I'll throw them in there. Charles, go, buddy. We got the Holman brothers on.
Yeah, thank you guys for entertaining the idea coming on. I appreciate it. Really just started from a simple question about the truck and just, the thought I had in this past week. But, before we get into that, how did it start for you guys? You guys kind of broke out in the mid 80s. What was the impetus to go do this?
I guess I started first. I used to go with Bill Armstrong to watch pulls. Carl Bidwell was the first 4-wheel drive truck that I remember. So that's what got me interested. And I had a 73 Chevy pickup that I used on the farm, and I had a gooseneck grain trailer that I pulled with my pickup, and it pulled out of the field really hard. So I did a few things to make it do a better job of pulling that trailer out of the field. And they had a local pull at Morenci, Michigan, and a few friends, maybe Jim, kind of goaded me to take my truck up there to pull. So we did, and I ended up winning all 4 classes. So the truck was set. Yep. So
What year would that have been when you guys started?
that would have been probably 77.
Probably 77.
Yeah. I had put a posi in the front end of the truck. Nobody thought about doing such a thing as that. And I don't know if you guys remember, if you're old enough, that vintage of 350 Chevy, the camshafts were soft in them. And that was one motor that the camshaft went out of it early. So I just bought a cam from a friend that had built up a motor, and then he blew it up. So the cam was brand new. I just bought it from him because it was cheap, new cam and lifters, and it was, a little better than stock. It worked really good, and it woke the motor up in my truck pretty good, so it would turn pretty good. So that was another reason why I had that early success.
At that time, was there anybody kind of who you guys would have said was your guiding light in getting started and kind of brought you along?
No, I really can't. I mean, there was other pullers.
There wasn't many mods back then.
No, there wasn't
There
many.
was maybe the guy from Indiana, who was that? He was over by Arcola. Smith, wasn't it?
Wayne Smith.
Wayne Smith had one.
Yeah.
But for the salt shaker was really the first mod that I remember seeing
In our area.
yeah.
So that
First
brings
time
up you mentioned the salt shaker. There's also the pepper shaker. Now, did you guys at one time own both of those, or was that just a team truck, so to speak?
Well, Bill and I built a salt shaker, and then Bill and Gary Baldwin, who pulled a single engine mod previous to that, he had a 540 Rodec aluminum block engine, which was fairly new at that time. A Rodec was a big deal back then. So he took the motor out of the wedge tractor, and him and Bill built a super modified pickup, which became Pepper Shaker. And we campaigned them together. We pretty much ran together on Ohio State circuit back in the I'd say late 70s, early half of the 80s. So I had good success with both of them.
How much of foreplay and the current pepper shaker pulling truck is tied to those two? Is any of that still those original trucks, or have they been, or are they kind of a replacement tribute sort of thing?
The frame on our truck is still the same original frame. Then the front springs, the leaf springs, everything else has been changed. The pepper shaker was sold to Robin Coy from Stryker, and he's pulling it as an altered gas.
Yeah,
and doing a really good job with it. He's got a serious 632 in it, and he's really doing well.
It's still mostly the original pepper shaker too.
Right,
It's still
it's-
the original steel body, the floor and everything, and
Yeah, they have to be.
original frame.
Yeah,
So a lot of that's still the original pepper shaker with a different motor in it.
right.
do you guys, I mean, I'm sure it's a source of pride for you, but do you also kind of maybe, is there a party that has a little bit of a giggle at the idea that you still run an OEM frame with leaf springs in the front and you bring it in out of a fifth wheel behind a pickup truck? You don't have tube frame and carbon fiber and a 3,000 foot long semi, and you just go out and put a whooping on everybody.
I can't deny it. Like you said, it's a little bit of a giggle to still be using that old frame and competing with the latest tube frames and so on. So you're right.
But on the other side, it still works. That truck is always hooked to anything. It'll work on a power track. It'll work on sand. So it's pretty forgiving. So that's the other reason. I mean, it still works. It's heavy, but it still works.
We've worked with it so long that we know it inside and out. We know what we need to do if we, to tweak it to get it where we want it to be, or we think we do. So we have a lot of things we can change on it that, probably the average person wouldn't notice. So we can adjust, the flex and so on pretty good with it. It's probably things we can do that you can't do with a tube frame.
Are you doing that with turnbuckles located throughout the frame, or?
We don't want to get into too much detail.
I won't ask you for the secret sauce. No, I know that.
Yeah.
just a curiosity point.
Just to say it's highly adjustable.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You guys have stayed pretty loyal on your engine program too, keeping it a Chevy. It seems like everybody these days has gone to a Hemi, but you guys didn't.
Well, you can explain that to me. It's not a Chevy.
It's not really a Chevy anymore. It's got Chevy rod and main bearings in it. I can say that for it. But the Hemis, they've changed our class and they've evened it up a bunch. That the Sonny's Hemis make a ton of power, but they're not super reliable, especially the valve train. So I guess it's our view, if you're breaking stuff all the time, you can't afford to keep doing it, and it kind of takes the fun out of it. So we wanted something that made good power but was also very reliable, so we're not working on it. We'd rather enjoy the events and the people that are there, and rather than wrenching on the motor in the dirt and the hot sun.
That's definitely a fair point. Guys, if you got any questions for the Holmans, be sure to drop them in the comment section. We'll do our best to ask them. There's one from Cody. He says, being a young buck trying to build a pulling truck, where would you put most of your attention when building it?
Boy.
Probably the motor.
That's where we've usually sunk most of our monies in the motor. It's always been a struggle between the chassis being able to hook it up and making more power out of the motor, and usually the motor.
Tony's asking about the night that the lights went out at a pull in Michigan. I think that was Hudsonville, was it not?
Yeah, it was. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that night. I'm not sure what happened.
You want to know why the lights went out?
I'm guessing that's his question.
Okay. Shuttle bus caught the guy wire on the main entrance pole to the fairgrounds
Oh boy.
and jerked the wires loose. Not funny.
Yeah, I guarantee.
That's what happened.
I guarantee you, Tim Wyden was there to see it.
Yeah.
According to a couple of our competitors, it was a conspiracy.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. Yeah, we ended up winning that, and some of our competitors complained we won because the sled cooled off while it was sitting there waiting for them to, get some temporary lights back up.
This is the best place, guys, to start rumors. So if you want to just kick something off tonight, just stay it out there and let it go. So
I was gonna say the sled cooling off. That's a new one for me.
Yes, that is very new.
I'm not going to say where that came from, but it was kind of new to us too, and I don't think there's any validity to it. Yeah, some guys think that first guy down the track has an advantage. They think the oil's cold in the sled, so that the box not reacting as fast. Maybe the trip's not getting pushed down as fast. Things like that. I don't believe it myself, but some people do. Some pullers do.
I've never heard that theory before. I mean, somebody really was had their thinking cap on to come up with an excuse there.
Yeah, right.
So, guys, how many laps do you figure that this truck has made? How many miles have you put on that truck on a 350-foot pulling track? Any idea?
I wish we'd have kept track, looking back.
Took out the odometer and it just all went to crap afterwards.
It's got to have at least 1,000.
Well,
over 20 years.
Well,
30.
40.
Okay, 2,000 runs.
Figure average probably 25 runs a year for 40 years. Yeah.
Back in the day, we put more than that on it.
Back in the day, it was more,
40, yeah.
but now it's less than that.
That's true.
We only put 14 on it this year. So yeah. But
people don't realize that too with the truck class. Everybody knows about the tractors having the multiple weight breaks back in the day, but the trucks did too, didn't they? 5,800 and 62.
Right. Yeah. That's how we got started with Jim driving first and me second, because he always drove the 58 and I drove the 62 just because I weigh more. That was the logic behind it. I told people that he drove first because he was always afraid that I was going to break it.
Sounds like something a brother would say.
Right.
We can get to Cody's this one first. Do you find more enjoyment watching trucks with older chassis and older power plants more or less than the trucks with all the new stuff?
Well, when we're watching, if you're asking us, we're the only one with the old stuff. Everything you see is new chassis and new engines, new technology. Now, ours, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Our engine's as techy as anything out there. So don't think that we're doing it with a 427 truck engine out of the junkyard. It's really high end.
Yeah. Jim's being
you mean it didn't come out of an old, a 77 grain truck?
No.
You're kidding.
No, it's a billet block, and Jim actually designed it.
Yeah, it's a clean sheet of paper. I tell everybody it's a mutt.
Yeah, there's only one other one like it. Dave Boss made both of them, and he has one, and we have one. So
gotcha. I knew you guys had been pretty heavily involved in the development for what you were running, but I guess I didn't realize you guys actually designed it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we worked with Dave Visner in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yep.
Okay, if you're familiar with Dave, he's a prototype cylinder head guy is kind of his forte. So between the three of us, we we designed it. I don't know, was that over a winter? We traded ideas back and forth.
Took quite a while to.
Yeah.
That was one thing that kind of got us behind the eight ball in the early 2010s. We were still running a 4.9, and a lot of people had gone to a 5-inch motor, and it took us longer to get it going and all worked out than what we thought it would. So but it's paying off now. So
For sure. Somebody had asked earlier, I think it might have been Cody as well on this one. It was when you guys have been at it so long and you've been very successful winning pretty much. There isn't anything you guys haven't won, but is there any events that have kind of gone by the wayside that you miss being able to go to, and what made it special about those particular events?
oh boy, there's a lot of them. We always, back in the day, we went to Hamburg, New York, Syracuse, New York, to the state fair.
The Ohio State Fair was pretty cool.
Ohio State Fair.
That's going way back.
Yeah. We used to go to Lincoln, Nebraska for the final. That's going way back too. So those are
Was that the Nebraska State Fair then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a few of them that just, pop up right now. A lot of places we went once and that was it. One and done, I call them.
There's been a number of those, and that I can think of, and heck, I think I've been to some of them that you guys were at that fall into that category.
Yeah.
Heck, the first time I ever saw you on the track was one of those events, I believe, in Rock Valley in 2020.
Okay, yeah, we enjoyed that event.
Yeah.
Well, we'd love to have you back.
Well, we would love to go back. There was a conflict with Dodge City this year.
Mm-hmm.
Dodge City changed the date, or we were hoping that it was going to be consecutive weekends, so we would have been at Rock Valley gladly. One thing I like to tell people, we were really, when we went to Rock Valley, that was an awesome trip, and really surprised and pleased with the reception we got from the other pullers, the officials. Everybody just treated us like kings, and they did a super job running the event. We would pull with the Outlaw organization anytime. They're an awesome bunch of guys.
When people found out you guys were there, all of our phones just blew up. I mean, like social media.
Yes.
Like, the Holman brothers are at Rock Valley. We started getting pictures, and it was so funny. It was like when Esden Lane went to Wisner, Nebraska. It was insane.
Yeah.
It was insane. So.
Yeah. Well, we didn't really know what to expect, from the other pullers. You never know. But
no,
they welcomed us with open arms, and it was great. Never forget it.
Well, I think I could probably speak for the Outlaw leadership, and I'm not on it or a part of it, but I can guarantee you that you have an open invite to any Outlaw hook that you want to come out and play with.
Yeah.
They would be happy to have you, and I would be happy to take your picture while you're there.
John's inviting you guys to California right now too. So that's
true.
What that's about. So.
I don't think we got that in us anymore.
Have you pulled in California before, guys?
No, farthest west we went was Rock Springs, Wyoming. So that's almost out of Wyoming going to the west.
Yeah. That was another one and done.
That was a one and done. Yeah, that wasn't such a hot event. That track was not good. That was a part throttle pass.
Oof.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite place to hook?
Oh boy,
I don't know. I'd probably get it down to two. I hate to name events, but
right.
Chapel Hill's pretty special, and Bowling Green.
Right.
When you can pull in front of a crowd that big, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Colin, and one of the comments, one of the questions in the comments was, what are some of the more memorable hooks that you made, or the most interesting places that you've hooked that a lot of us either don't remember or not know of? Any good stories?
Yeah, I took a trip. Let's see, that would have been 88, I think it was. So it was only our second year pulling nationally. And there were 3 pulls in a row. One was Syracuse, New York, the New York State Fair, and one in New Hampshire, Conocook, and one in Essex Junction, Vermont. But so we went to, first one we went to was New Hampshire, came back to the New York State Fair in Syracuse, and then finished up in Essex Junction. And this was within a week. But the one in Syracuse, I won both classes with a full pull both nights, the only one. And I was, we were running, I think, a 604 back then.
Yeah.
Against, guys that, with Lee Edwards motors, big 700-inch or, 680 somethings. So that was pretty special for me. I was pulling against all the big dogs out there, and that's when we were still nobodies. So had the officials over teching me really close afterwards.
Yeah.
Someone had asked, and I think I know the answer now, knowing that you guys actually designed the engines you have. But would you consider the idea of building a big inch motor to try PPL?
I if we would run PPL, I think we'd just run the same thing. I don't want to sound cocky, but I think we can run with them with the 650. And there's guys that run 650s. I don't know whether you know it or not, but there's several 650s that runs PPL. The Varners both have 650s and they do good.
Yeah.
And I think Jimmy Bosch this year finished the year with his 650 and was doing fine.
Okay.
Those big motors, they'll make a lot more torque, but on the top end, ours turns higher RPM and, doesn't make as much torque, but if you make it up with RPM, you can kind of arrive at the same horsepower and get the same amount of work done.
Yep. What year did you guys switch the steel out and go to the fiberglass?
I think 2005.
Yeah, that's what I was going to guess.
Yeah, that's a story too. Nobody really makes a 60 fiberglass body. And I found a place in Tennessee online. Of course, I was a lot younger and dumber back then. I sent them a deposit on it without ever visiting. They said they'd make us one. And it took forever. Went down there to get it and pay them the rest of the money. And what a hole that place was. It was in an old Ford dealership in Tennessee, in the hills. And it was the biggest mess. And what we got was an even bigger mess. That body was really bad. They didn't really have molds for a 60 cab. They used a 65 and then hacked off the A-pillars and kind of faked in some A-pillars, and it was rough. So we spent the next 13 months remolding that body. So it's kind of a one-off. But it took a lot of work to get it to where it is.
So that's the original one then. That's the original one. You've never cracked it or anything.
No, it's still the original one, and the paint the original paint's still on it. From then, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, a local guy, body shop guy, he painted the steel body for us, and so we got the glass body mounted up and everything ready for some final body work, and took it up to him, and he worked on one bedside for 1 week and called us in and said, "Guys, I can't do it." That darn fiberglass, you try to get it straight and it moves if you push it very hard when you're blocking it down. He said, "I don't have time and the patience to do this." So he said, "I'll clear a space in the back of the shop if you want to come in at night and work on it." So
wow.
That's how it got done. He gave me his key and he let me use all his tools, which his kids couldn't believe because he was really fussy. He wouldn't hardly let them do it, but he gave me a key, and I'd go in there at night and work on glass and body filler and block it. And then he painted it for us when it was done.
How much does the driving style differ between the two of you? Do you walk into a show and kind of look at the track and go, well, maybe you should drive tonight. This suits you better. Is that a conversation you guys have?
No,
Not really. And usually we split. So if it's a lot of the Grand Nationals are 2-night events. So, he's driving one night and I'm driving another. We don't drive really different, maybe a little bit, but not. And it's kind of funny. You kind of go in streaks where you can really feel what you're doing and you do exactly what you want. And then you get on streaks where you feel like you can't do anything right. And, it just isn't working right. And it just comes and goes.
We're seeing it right now in the tractor world and a little bit in the two-wheel drive world as well. Is there evolution going on in tire design? I mean, the Nichols tire for the 4-wheel drives anyway has been out for, I don't know, 10 or 12 years now, it seems like. But is that still a thing with the particular class you guys are running?
Oh yeah, the Mayhill tire, has come out, and several guys are running those. And Nichols is experimenting all the time. His tires may look the same to you, and I don't want to say too much, but they're trying different designs all the time.
Yeah, I've seen their different front tire that he came up with this spring and saw that.
Yep.
One.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're always working on different designs, and like I said, I don't know how much they want out, but I'm not going to say too much because I probably know a little bit more than most people, but yeah.
And that's fair.
Yeah. And the Mayhill coming out with his tire is really pushing Nichols to get better,
Right.
So they're kind of pushing each other to improve.
Yeah.
So you said that you go through streaks where you can't miss and you're feeling it and everything's working right. And then you go through the other side of that coin that nobody likes to talk about, and where you can't do anything right. What's in your career, what's the biggest challenge that you guys have ever had to overcome?
I don't know. You mean from a physical standpoint or trying to keep it on the track, or
kind of you can take it any way you like, but I mean, like, whether it be, a year where the chassis just had a real bad year and just didn't cooperate, or the motor just would, it would lay down at 175 feet and you just could not figure out why. And, stuff like that. Like the trials and tribulations.
We've had both of those exact things. We went through years where the motor was laying down at the end of the run and we couldn't figure out why. And we've had a lot of years where the chassis just wasn't working, wasn't hooking. We weren't getting a good hole shot. It wasn't staying hooked at the end of the run. We've had a lot of years like that.
Yeah.
And some of the solutions, eventually you figure it out. When you figure it out, you go, oh my word, just the dumbest little things made the difference.
Mm-hmm.
So if we only knew what we knew, what we know now, if we'd known that 10 or 20 years ago,
yeah,
life would have been a lot better. But yeah, we've gone through those struggles several years. So all you can do is keep your head down and keep trying stuff.
Colin asks, outside of you two, has anyone else driven foreplay?
John
Heilman drove it a couple of years when there was a circuit in Florida in the early 80s. We actually trailered with John. He hauled our truck for us. and John Heilman's actually who taught me how to drive a semi. But there was a weekend when I couldn't go. I forget where the event was, but John drove it for me, or for Bill and I. It was Bill and I back then. So
I guess since it's been red, nobody else has driven it, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's driven for play, if you want to say it
Yeah,
that way.
since Jim's come aboard, it's just been him and I. Yeah. Of course, Bill Armstrong, who I built the truck with. I don't know how many of your viewers remember or heard of Bill Armstrong, but we laid him to rest this weekend. He had a short battle with cancer, and so I don't know anybody that remembers him. We lost him this past week.
Sorry to hear that. I had no idea.
Yeah. A lot of kind of missing me, and a ton of knowledge there. He was my teacher, for sure.
Well, it appears to me, just from the outside looking in, you were a pretty damn good student.
Well, maybe. I tell everybody I had the two best teachers, my dad, well, Jim and I, and Bill, just taught me everything. You name it, how to weld, how to fabricate, mechanic. Our dad was a carpenter, and just, oh boy, what a wealth of knowledge, was passed on. I feel so lucky. Words can't explain it.
Yeah, work ethic from both of them. They were both just super, super hard workers.
So we're blessed to have the parents that we did, and the Christian upbringing that we received from them. People can't believe they don't see Jim and I fighting and cussing and swearing at each other, but we owe that to our parents.
It's good. That's a good upbringing for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't quite that lucky.
That's right. Yeah.
Guys, what's the best advice anybody's ever given you about truck and tractor pulling? Somebody probably told you don't do it, and thank the Lord that you didn't listen. We appreciate that.
That was probably our dad at first.
Yeah.
And then he ended up being the biggest supporter of it.
That happens probably a lot more times than anybody realizes.
He didn't want me to buy that 4-wheel drive pickup for a farm truck. He said, you don't, of course he never had one. So he says, you don't need that 4-wheel drive truck. Well, he didn't know in the back of my mind I wanted a gooseneck trailer to use on the farm. So that was my main reason for getting 4-wheel drive. Plus Bill Armstrong had one, and I could see the advantages on the farm of having one. So yeah. But yeah, it's funny, like Jim said, he went from negative to our biggest fan pretty fast. Jim and Dad actually campaigned a 72 GMC pickup together in the stock class for a few years. Most people don't know that. So Dad went from don't do that to being a half owner in a truck.
Chad Stevenson's asking, when you went to the fiberglass body, how much weight did that save for you guys?
We don't know exactly because we didn't, believe it or not, we didn't weigh it before or after. But yeah, I'd say 200-300 pounds. Our steel body was about as light as you could make a steel body. It was like a beer can. All the body panels were just bolted together, and there was no double wall anywhere in that body. So when you looked on the inside, you were looking at the backside of the outside sheet metal. So it wasn't as heavy maybe as some other steel bodies, And then our glass body's probably heavier than everybody else's because it's a one-off. So the glass is heavier, and the framing that we put in it is heavier than most guys do. I guess mostly because we've got full doors that have door panels in them, and all the factory latches and everything, and they open and close, like they did when it was a steel body. So it's not as light as probably 99% of them out there. So that's between that and the frame. That's why the truck's a little bit on the heavy side.
Kevin James is asking, and that's actually, I'm going to expand his question a little bit. When you guys started running at the mod 4-wheel drive level, were at any time early in those days, were you carbureted or were you fuel injected pretty much right from go?
Yeah, you were carbureted.
Yeah, we started out with a Dominator carburetor, and then we went to the single toilet bowl. We got that through Earl Gertie, who was doing our engines at that time. And then Jim and I decided we wanted to go to try a twin throttle body on a tunnel ram, but Earl sold his injection business to Joe Monroe from Indianapolis. So he told us to go see him, and we did. And at the same time, they had just come out with the new, what they call the Pontiac head, if you remember that. So we went and talked to Joe, and he agreed to make us a tunnel ram twin toilet injection. And then we asked him if he knew where we could get. We were actually looking for a set of used Pontiac heads, and he told us to go see Steve Schmidt. Maybe he'd have some. So that's how we got hooked up with Steve. Steve didn't have any used ones, but he talked us into a new set. And he also had a sheet metal intake, which I think we were the first ones in our class to run a sheet metal intake. I'm sure we were. And Steve said, this darn intake, I can't use it because it makes too much torque. I have trouble breaking the tires loose off the line. And we said, boy, that's too bad. We'll take it. Because, you need torque and pulling. So we took that intake over to Joe, and he made the injection. And there's more to the story than that. Then you ask how we got started with our own injection. The night that we went over and when the injection was done, went and picked it up from Joe. He was outside laying underneath a camper, changing a starter in the rain, all wet and cold. But we took the injection over to Steve's to put it on the motor, and then Joe was going to come over and dyno it with us the next day. Well, that night, Joe died of congestive heart failure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there began our
Education
on alcohol fuel injection, which was a long, hard road because we didn't have any water in the block. Everybody was running their alcohol motors dry back then. So that's what we did. Even though Steve begged us to put water in it, we told him, no, the alcohol will keep it cool. Well, it works fine on the dyno when it's just a 5-second pull. But then you get it out on the track and make a 15-second run, things get a little too hot. And for a few years there, we were just burning up buckets of pistons, trying to, figure out how much fuel it wanted, or, getting the right amount. And finally, we went back to Steve and listened to him and put water in the heads. And geez, it was how
200 horse.
200 horse just by being able to control the temperature of the heads in the block, and
Wow.
made it so much easier to tune the engine. So yeah, that was so now most people probably don't know, Jim built a fuel flow bench, which we can set up our injection. Well, we've actually built over 20 injection systems for other people, and we can set a system up on the bench just like it's on the motor, and dial the fuel curve right in, and that's been a big help for toward our success. Is we had to learn the hard way, but through learning we've that's been an advantage over the years.
John Bloor. Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I was just gonna ask John's question. John
Yeah.
Bohr is a friend of ours from out west. He's the guy who invited you to California, and he would love to have you out. But he's got an OEM chassis on a truck called Utterly Wild, which is the old Wild Hare. And he wonders if you guys ever run into fatigue problems with an OEM chassis, and if so, how you deal with it.
Yeah, we've had to tweak ours over the years. It flexed a little too much a few times.
We've had to bend it back a few times, and then it's kind of a guessing game on how much to stiffen it up in those areas. Kind of a trial and error deal.
Yeah, because you can go too far and then it doesn't work anymore. So that's kind of how ours became adjustable.
We fixed ours once and made it too stiff and couldn't keep it on the ground. So it's pretty amazing that least little changes, how they affect the truck. These trucks are a lot fussier than people think they are. They gotta be right on the ragged edge of out of control when they work their best, I should say. So,
which competitor over the years has pushed you guys the hardest? That's kind of I think kind of a different question than who has been your biggest rival on the track. Who has pushed you guys the hardest to innovate?
Well, it wouldn't be. We've pulled so long. I can't point to just one person. There's different.
All right, we'll pick a decade.
Different eras, pulling. I mean, you think back, Three Bears, Bob Smith they were always super competitive, consistent back then.
The early days, it was, I don't know if you remember the Johnson brothers from Oklahoma. They were Oklahoma Showdown. They were fierce competitors. They did not like to lose. Nicest guys you'd ever meet. But when it came to running on the track, man, they did not like to lose. So they were tough. Bud Jaskey was the big dog when we got started.
Yeah.
So we looked up to Bud. And, he pushed hard.
Yeah. He sure came up with some wild stuff.
Oh yeah. He came to the Ohio State Fair one year with a bat and 4-valve.
Yeah.
We all thought we were in deep trouble. that thing looked like 2,000 horsepower looking at it.
Then many years later, he confided in me. It only made 900 horse. Yeah. So it wasn't too successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's been, you just look at past champions, you can't not mention Bramer brothers for sure. They pushed really hard, and that was right during that era when we were struggling with our motor programs, going from the 4.9 to getting the 5-inch to work, and so they pushed us really hard. Great guys. I sure miss pulling with them. Yeah, there's Bud's.
Yeah, that didn't work either. That chassis.
Yeah, sprint car chassis.
Interesting idea, but
I still remember. I think that was at Canfield, Ohio. Was the first time we saw that. still remember that.
The same truck that he had taken that S10 body and narrowed it up to where it was like 3 feet wide.
Right.
Yeah,
In the
yeah.
back. Yeah. Yeah. He was an innovator for sure. Yeah.
What do you guys figure has been the biggest innovation in the sport or in your class over the past, I don't know, let's say 10 years? Is it tire
probably,
tech or is it something else?
probably the Hemi, I suppose.
I was asked that question in a podcast not too long ago, and my answer was the Sonny's Hemi engine, because it just evened the playing field. For, in the early days, we just happened to hook up with Steve Schmidt, who was a top competitive pro stock racer. So he was on the cutting edge of engine technology, and ordinary guys couldn't go to somebody like that and get a pulling engine. They all thought pulling was kind of a second class deal. So we had a power advantage for a long time. But when Sonny Leonard found out that puller's money's green too, started selling those Hemis, man, that instantly anybody that could afford one, they had the power to win. They were competitive.
Change their tune in a hurry, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, there were back in the day. There was Jerry Janke out of Texas. He made good power, and Lee Edwards. That built the guys from from Virginia. He was building a lot of their motors, and they were darn good. They'd run with us, but that was about it though. If you didn't have a motor from one of those places, why? You were a little bit behind.
Yeah. Then probably another thing that changed our class quite a bit is the tube chassis, because that, you could, again, same deal. You could go to a guy and buy a tube chassis Angler or who's the guy in Ohio here?
Barker.
His worked really good. You can, you buy a Hemi engine and a Barker chassis, and you're top 5 right out of the box.
Yeah. If you know how to drive. That's
So those two things probably changed our class the most.
Yeah, I mean, Bramers pulled with a Ford motor for a couple of years first. We actually did the fuel injection for them, or we didn't. I guess we just tuned it for them.
Yeah.
But I mean, they weren't them when they got their Hemi, and Jason certainly knows how to drive. He showed everybody that. So once they got that Barker chassis and that Hemi engine together, why, they were instant success.
How many times have you guys appeared on the cover of the Puller magazine?
Three or four.
Three that I know of.
At our county fair, they always have a farm display, a history display of farming, and this year they did a tent that had the history of pulling in Fulton County. So we did a display for them, and one of the items was the different magazine covers for the puller, and I can't remember if it was three or four. Yeah. That's a pretty big deal when you're on the cover of the Puller magazine for the first time.
Sure.
Then you arrived.
And at the time the first one happened, really the internet wasn't a thing. So I'm sure you opened the mailbox and were like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a big deal.
So what do you guys consider your greatest accomplishment in the sport? What's the thing that you're most proud of in the sport?
You guys ask tough questions.
Yes, we do.
I did tell you there were no wrong answers. I just didn't tell you they were going to be easy.
Yeah, but I don't know. For me, one of them at least is the Enderley qualifying. We made 33 out of 35.
That's right.
So holy cow!
That's pretty good. That means you've been in the top 5 in points, those years.
Wow.
So, fortunately for us, the first year they did the Enderley was the first year that we ran Grand National. So we just timed it out just right. and I didn't even know about it the first year we qualified for it. We ran it at the Ohio State Fair. And I think somebody told us, hey, you guys get to run in this deal. And then, I was probably 26 at the time or something. It's just like, oh, cool. I get to run again. I didn't even know what it was. So yeah, we were kind of lucky in that aspect that we kind of started Grand National the same year they started the Underley.
Yeah, 87.
Yeah.
Chapel Hill, we've won 17 chairs. Winning 9 rings at Bowling Green is huge. I don't
know how many Tomas we got. We got a lot of those.
I think we've won 14 times at Toma.
Yeah.
So, but it'd either have to be the 17 chairs from Chapel Hill or the 9 rings from Bowling Green. Those are big.
I can't even fathom that. or what it would take to do that today. I mean, guy who started Cody asked you a question earlier about what advice you would give to a guy who's building his first truck, and he is Cody, you got a heck of a challenge. You gotta get 17 chairs and you got to get 9 pieces of jewelry.
Well, we're not done yet.
I know you're not. That's the scary part, is that you're going to add to that.
Yeah, maybe. Somebody that you guys know asked us that question. I just happened to think about it. You guys all know Rob Foster, Simply Red. So he came to us at a poll. Him and his dad came to us at a poll in Saline, Michigan, and said they wanted to get into 4-wheel drive. They said, what do you recommend? And we said, buy a good competitive used truck, because that gives you a good head start. And also you don't have as much money into it as you would if you bought everything new and tried to do everything from scratch.
Yeah.
So he bought Donnie Sanders, Tennessean, which was a really good competitive truck, and that put him in the game right away. So that was our advice to him, is buy a good competitive used truck that's on the market.
Well, I happen to know that Cody did go and buy himself a chassis. I know it came out of Ohio. I don't know what its history is, but you guys have competed against him before, and so when he saw that you guys were going to be on, I know he had a lot of questions. Another one that he had that we hadn't asked yet was there ever a point in time where you guys were having a down year and you were ready to say, screw it, sell it all and go buy a fishing boat? Just hang it up and be done with it.
No,
I never got that bad. I don't like to fish.
No.
That's fair. I don't either.
Same.
I don't know. I think we get as big a kick out of working on it and we're both kind of motorheads. We love building the engines and working on the engine and trying to make it better and going to the dyno. And so that's just
what we do.
It's kind of our stress relief is working on stuff. So if we did that, we'd have to find some other way to relieve our stress.
Yeah.
So I think for you guys, it's the intangibility of that passion that makes you guys the lifers that you are. From what you're saying, I don't see there's ever a time when this stops. You guys will just keep going until you can't.
Yeah.
Or our wives tell us we can't.
Yeah. And they kind of paid a price early on. The early years when we were young, man, it was a 7-day-a-week thing. We were in the shop just constantly. So they probably, our family lives took a hit on that. We sacrificed some things, but we were driven to succeed. So we worked really, really hard the first, 20 years or something.
Especially when we were burning pistons and trying to learn the fuel game. Wow, a lot of late nights, no sleep. That's one thing, I think it's contributed to our success is Jim and I are totally hands-on. We do everything. There's like 3 or 4 things that we don't do. We don't grind our own valves. We don't rebuild their clutch. We let Roy Story do that. Of course, something that requires a machine like a cylinder hone or something like that, we can't do. But everything else we do ourselves. We have a small machine shop. We make a lot of our own parts, and I think that's contributed to our success as well. So.
Yeah, I've always said if you go buy a part and you're just as good as the other guy that can buy the same part, but if you design your own and create it, make something different, and that's what sets you apart. Puts you ahead of the pack.
Yeah. I still remember we bought an aluminum oil pan and paid big money for it. Then we got it. It wasn't anywhere near right. And that was just the last straw. So that's when we got our own TIG welder, and I learned how to TIG weld. From then on, we make our own oil pans, make our own headers, just do everything we can ourselves.
It's good that you got the skills to do that. That's there's the intellectual pursuit piece too. That's kind of the nerding out. It's kind of the thing that keeps me coming back all the time for stuff. And
yeah, it's a passion, that's for sure. And like you said, we're both blessed to have the skill sets that we have. So things that we kind of complement each other. Like I said, I'm the welder and the fabricator. Jim's a machinist, does more of the machining. So it works really good. Just happens to work out really good. We both love putting motors together. So we like fussing over them.
Is any thought?
Do you ever consider running 2?
There was a time.
Yeah, there was a time.
I think we actually talked about it one time, building a 2-wheel drive a long time ago.
Yeah.
Glad we didn't do that.
Yeah, who was the wisdomous person who talked you out of that one?
I think it was just ourselves. We just didn't do it. Didn't have that big of a drive for it.
No. We try. We're not rich. We try to operate within our means, and I'm just a farmer, not a big farmer by today's standards. So.
Corn and soybeans?
Yeah. So I used to have livestock when I was younger, and I worked construction along with farming for up until the early 90s, I guess. And then I drove truck for several years. I've pretty much always had some kind of a side job besides farming. I was a township trustee for 26 years. I just retired from that a year ago. So.
No, you started to say on the 2 truck deal, we ran Rick Johnson's Bad Bow Tie for a season.
For a season.
On Grand National. So that gave us a taste of having 2 trucks. And there were times that, what we decided was the Rick's truck was taking away time from our truck, and we weren't doing as well with our truck. Things go wrong, and you got to rush to fix one, and so you're not taking care of the other one, not watching the track. So that kind of broke us of that 2 truck desire.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
What year, guys? What year is that? I'm gonna see how good you know your own truck.
Oh boy.
This is kind of fun.
I'll throw out a guess.
2010.
10, was it?
Really? I would have guessed newer than that. Huh.
That's what the Facebook post says. So
Yeah.
Facebook doesn't lie, guys. Facebook doesn't lie.
No.
Never, ever.
No.
Yeah, they even have fact checkers for that.
Yeah, we even qualified Rick's truck for the Enderley. that year.
Wow.
Yeah, we did good with it. First time we ran it that year at Wapakoneta, Jim got first and I got second. That was the first time I drove it. And his clutch was way different than ours, what I was used to. I had to scold him a little bit over that. We got her ironed out.
How many times you guys run at the farm show?
Quite a few.
Yeah. First time I went was
89, was it?
89. Yeah, I got in a pull off with Glenn Davis. Got second place. That was the first year. We went most every year up until 2010 was the last year we went. I won it in 09 and Jim won it in 10. And we decided that was a good time to hang it up. That's an awful lot of work, for a couple old guys to take it down there, and then when you get home, you got to spend a week washing the salt off everything and putting everything back away. And so,
especially you guys bringing it on an open trailer. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, back then, but yeah, we're not open anymore. But
where we weren't in town, I mean, we had it enclosed for a long time. But yeah, you got to wash all the salt off of it. And
yeah,
for one hook, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we had our trailer was brand new aluminum Featherlight trailer. Just made me sick to get salt all over it. Geez, I'd lay underneath it with a power washer and wash it for days trying to get all the salt off of it. So
Mick Broughton wants to know if there's anybody besides him. This was something he didn't type in, but I will ad lib this. Is there anybody else besides me who thinks when you show up, who says, "Oh crap, we've got our work cut out for us"?
Well, they're going to have to answer that one.
Yeah. Hope everybody.
I don't know, but in my mind, that's probably a compliment of the highest order.
Yeah. Yeah. Mick's pretty darn good himself.
He is.
Yeah. Too bad he couldn't pull more this year.
Yeah, he had the kind of off year you guys had mentioned. It just motor gremlins just hit him hard.
Yeah. We know the feeling.
Is that Dodge City, guys?
Yeah, that was the first year for Dodge City.
Nice.
You can tell by the enormous trophy.
Yes,
Man,
the tallest trophy on the planet.
Yes. Rick Johnson was so jealous. He wanted one of those so bad.
You guys have a trophy room with? I mean, you should probably add on to your house or your shop.
They're hidden everywhere. We got some of the good ones are in our shop. That one you're showing there is in our shop. We got a lot of the Enderley, when they hand out the big checks, we've got those on the wall in the shop.
They have a hat rack that's about 3 stories high of all the Enderley hats that they've gotten over the years.
They're all in a tote. They were in the back corner of the camper, but our wives made us clean them out.
Well, yeah, that's because you didn't have a place to sleep after all of those.
Yeah.
Wyatt Schulte says we have to do a Holman shop tour. I think we can.
Yeah.
So.
You probably wouldn't be that impressed. It's not a show place. We can do a lot of neat stuff in there.
Yeah, we know where everything's at.
And furthermore, Wyatt, you heard him say earlier they were a little cagey with details.
Yeah,
I don't think you'd really get to see everything in that shop tour.
I feel like I'd be spending a lot of time in the editing software blurring stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we're pretty good at keeping stuff hidden.
Yeah, we can just shut a couple doors.
Best John Heilman story.
Oh boy, This is going to be a really good one.
Yes.
Here you go. I hope Ann won't kill me. Oh, we got back to my place and we'd been on the road forever. I don't remember the details exactly. But Ann wanted nothing more than to just take a bath and soak in the bathtub. and I didn't know it.
Uh-oh.
Well, it wasn't true. But yeah, she went in our house and was soaking in the bathtub, and I started to walk in the door. And didn't know she was in there. And of course, she screamed. So that's pretty memorable.
Yeah. I would agree.
You know, I gotta say, I learned a lot from John and Ann. They were meticulous with their vehicles, keeping them clean, maintenance. I learned that from John. Maintain, check the valves after every run, that sort of thing. Learned a lot from them. And like I said, John taught me how to drive a 10-speed. And after I learned, then Ann and I drove, and he laid in the back, slept in the sleeper. He let me drive a lot. Yeah.
So there was a reason that he taught you, huh?
Yeah.
It was more than just a life skill. He
Yeah.
wanted an Uber driver.
But I loved it. So back then he put what they called a silver 92 in his International. You remember those at Detroit?
I do.
Yep. That was a big deal back then. So we had power and everything.
Oh, there's another picture.
Yeah, that's an old picture.
1994. I finally found some old stuff, guys.
Yeah, Kendo years.
Yep.
I'll bet I know of at least one guy who's watching the show who's probably got older photos than that. Tim, yeah, I know you don't have them loaded, but I remember looking through some photo albums.
You guys have probably got a Kendall GT1 fire suit or two.
Yeah, I still got mine.
Yep.
Still got yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were good to us.
Well, guys, we've kept you for an hour. Been gracious with your time. I'll leave it to Ryan to ask his customary question that we end with for all of our guests. So,
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah.
Can I go first? What's your guys' daily drivers?
good question.
Mine's a 2011 GMC Duramax pickup.
I don't know if I have a daily driver.
Well, you have a big selection.
I have a selection.
Let's go through it then.
Well, we should talk about that at least for a hot minute.
Oh,
Yeah, let's do the Jay Leno tour.
I've always had something. I'm a muscle car nut, so I've always had something.
Ooh, tell us.
Muscle car nature. So my current one's a 2016 Corvette, but that one doesn't get driven. I can't call it a daily driver. It's only got 13,000 miles on it. So,
Oh my!
we both have Harleys. So we both have Harley Ultras. So I ride the Harley on nice days to work, or drive the Corvette. Then after that, it gets pretty boring.
Yeah.
Then it gets down to my wife's Malibu.
I've got a 1996 Impala SS with about 13,000 miles on it. I bought new.
Wow! What color? Which paint?
Black.
Which paint color was it?
It's black.
Okay, so it's the one that GM actually got right, wasn't it? The gray that, like 1 in 27 of them actually, the color actually came out right.
Yeah. And then they had that black cherry. There was only 3 colors. Yeah. So that I don't. There it is. Yeah.
Well, these guys are quick on the internet.
I don't drive that one much either. I get it out maybe a couple times during the summer and take it for 4 or 5 miles.
Oh no, that's a shame.
That's my retirement car if I ever retire. There it is. Yep.
If Darth
And
Vader ever had a daily driver.
13,000 miles on a 2016 Corvette.
Yeah.
Well, we really need to get you Steve Boyd's phone number because he's got a Corvette too, and I'll bet the two of you could have some fun putting some miles on together.
Yeah, they're nice cars, but it doesn't get out unless the sun's shining.
I get that.
Yeah. You guys were asking a lot about, honors and, what's our most memorable thing. I remember something from Macon, Missouri, a long time ago. Dave Banner came up to us and asked us if we would trade him T-shirts, and that was like,
That's awesome.
the polling God asking you.
Wow.
Yep. So I'll always remember that. I couldn't believe it. It's like, really? You want to trade me?
That's
cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, we used to play softball with him down at Chapel Hill.
Yeah.
He was a good softball player.
All right, guys. So the question I ask of every guest, or almost every guest who comes on the show, is if you could steal the keys, figuratively speaking, to anything, past or present, and go pulling with it, what would you take the keys to? Where would you pull it, and why?
Ooh, boy, that's a tough question.
And by the way, Isaac Hilburn is very proud of you because he's never seen either of you up this late.
Doesn't happen very often anymore.
Well, we appreciate it very, very much.
No, I don't go to bed until 11 at least at home. But anyway, boy, I don't know. I've always wondered what it would be like to drop the hammer on a mod, I guess. So
yeah, this year it'd be Joe Eaters.
yeah, I guess I could pick a ride.
Dominating.
Yeah, I'd take a spin on Joe's mod. Yeah, actually, Ryan Reitzel offered to let me drive his, but I don't know.
Probably have a heart attack.
Yeah,
I don't. You're really afraid you're going to like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
So.
Well, remember, actually, I should have made this more clear in the question. You're not responsible if you wreck it.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if that opens it up for you or not, but
I'd still feel
I feel like I should throw that in there.
Yeah.
And I'd probably choose to run it at Bowling Green because you got a lot of room there in case something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Chapel Hill's a little tight for an unlimited mod and a rookie driver.
Right.
I can see that. So it would be Joe's mod at Bowling Green for both of you.
Yeah, probably.
I think so. Yeah.
Nobody wants a ride on Mission Impossible or something like that.
Well, it's kind of along the same lines, I guess. I'm thinking Joe's got the most power, so if you're looking for a thrill, go with the latest and greatest.
And even though he lives near
I get that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
There's no way you'd get me on a Mini. I think they're the craziest people in the world, wrapping their legs around a clutch can behind a blown Hemi.
Yep, that's what we think too.
Have you met Bruce and Tyler Slaw? That's all.
Oh, well.
Yep, that's why.
And they will very happily take that.
That's why God created mini rods for guys like that.
Yes. Yep. More power to them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks again, guys, for agreeing to do this tonight. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, this was really cool, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey,
it's been fun.
One question. You mentioned that you were asked the question on a recent podcast. Where can we find that?
His name is Jeff Swank. He's in Ohio.
So, yep, Swank on Sports.
Yes,
Right,
yeah. So
He'll
call me once or twice a season. Usually after a win somewhere, he'll want to do an interview. He does them. He tapes them and then they air Sunday nights.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm throwing the link into the comments right now, guys. There you go.
Perfect. All right. Well, we'll let you guys get on with your evening. Thanks again.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much,
to you
guys. So, till next time.
Oops.
Did you just kick him out?
I did. Well, I'm sorry.
we were done.
I thought Bruce said we were done. That was
Yeah, we were done.
Charles. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Sometimes it's just fun to sit back and listen.
I loved it because it allowed me, Charles, to go hunting and pecking for pictures and
Right.
videos. I love that. So
Good guys.
Well,
Solid guys.
I mean, that's why we originally started this this show was to, sit down with people in their living room and ask them the questions that other people didn't, or I guess, well,
we don't get a chance to.
or that Jeff Swank asked first, in this case.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's why we started this, and yeah, I think for all of us, that's the stuff that we live for.
Yeah.
It's the same with, sitting down and getting Mark Ulmer to tell stories, or, Travis or Joe Etter. That's the stuff that a lot of people just don't have the time to devote to, or the relationship. And I'm not saying that we all have that relationship, but if you can get an hour of somebody's time like that and you can get them talking, there's a tremendous amount of information to be shared, and stories to be told, and that we can all either learn from or we can enjoy and appreciate.
Yeah. In the heat of summer, when competition's going on, you're unlikely to be able to monopolize somebody's time for an hour like that. And the people that you can do that with, you probably already know all the stories anyway because you're friends. You know what I'm saying? So you're not going to learn necessarily anything new.
Jeremy, that would be a really good podcast.
Make it happen, Jeremy.
Yes,
I mean, guys,
it would be. Andrew and I were lucky enough to interview him years ago, and I can attest he would be an awesome interview.
Jeremy, get it done. I mean, every Monday night, guys. We don't do let us tell you how much planning goes into Let's Grow Home. Hey guys.
No. Let's not do that. Let's not open that curtain.
We'd love that.
Because I think that we could do. I mean, this is a repeatable process, and we know this.
Yes.
It's just that we're all very busy, and we've all got a lot of irons in the fire. And I mean, for me, during the fall, it's auction season is real heavy, especially now, starting to tail off a little bit. But then it's into harvest, and then after harvest, it's end of year auctions. Jason never stops selling houses and mortgages and stuff. Charles is busy with insurance, and Cody is doing all manner of things high tech with with farm equipment and making it more precision oriented. Either that, or he's flying drones and capturing raccoons doing the nasty. They were raccoons, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
Okay, yeah, there you go. If you want to know what we're talking about, go to his TikTok. At Vanderholm Media. It's one of the funniest videos you've ever seen, and it was shot from 2 miles away, which is kind of wild.
Not quite, but it's there's a good story behind it.
Shut up and roll with it. But at any rate, it is, we do love to sit down with the people who have been really influential in the sport. And during the summer, Charles is right, we're never going to get that. And so during the summer, that's why you see so many more promoters on the show. But once we get into the fall and in the winter, in the dead of winter, when ain't nobody going outside because it's friggin' freezing out there. Yeah. That's when, that's when we push the hardest to get some of the big names and stuff like that. Some of the storytellers on the show. It's because there's history there that's being lost every day. I mean, to segue into what Jason's going to bring up next, we lost JR on Saturday, and there are thousands of JR stories. I read one of them from Heather Ham today. Her tribute to him was particularly good, and particularly moving. But the history of the sport is told orally. Nobody writes books about it.
No.
Did I just...
Dude, Roos has the best internet in the world. I've been to his house before. What just happened? One of the cats?
I don't know. Where did I cut off in my apparently long monologue.
No one writes a book.
Oh, well, then we didn't miss much. So, like I was saying, nobody writes a book about this stuff like they do about baseball or NASCAR or drag racing. A lot of this history is still told. It's transmitted orally. People tell these stories still, and they tell them at campfires. They tell them in the pits while they're, running valves. They tell them drinking whiskey. Speaking of which, I'm out of some. And that's why we started this show. So,
Bunnage Motorsports just followed me on TikTok. I wonder why.
You're welcome. Chuck, I'm glad you tuned in, Chuck. I knew you'd enjoy this one.
I found some old videos of us starting to show Zolik and I, like in 2015. Oh my goodness. I'm going to share those videos with you guys. You're going to just giggle. Zolik's reaching over me and pushing buttons, and I'm trying to talk, and we're in my basement. And it's so funny.
There's got to be one where he slaps your hand because you're about to touch a button that you're not supposed to.
Zolik's beyond nice. So he's too nice to me, actually. So it's all good. So.
I would have had the cattle prod there and been like, "Don't do it."
You and Roos would have me in a sling and a noose every day if you had your chance anyway. So it's all good. So
more than likely, yes.
Or a straight jacket or whatever.
I was gonna say, what's the straight jacket for? Don't worry about that.
Yeah, don't worry about that. It's for Schultz.
Don't worry about that. Sit down in the chair right now.
So this is obviously a video, guys. I think of like one of those Charles, like American Cavalcades or
one of the PNNs from Toma.
Yeah, I saw. So this is just funny. This is I don't remember what year, guys, but it's really cool.
97, 98, somewhere in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
The first of the big rig competitors ever. And even though he lives near picturesque Lake Erie, he's so devoted
Steve Evans.
He's almost blind to everything else.
Yes.
This is so
beautiful Lake Erie, a recreational waterland paradise of fun and relaxation. For most people, living here would be a dream come true, but not for veteran big rig puller J.R. Collins.
I don't fish, I don't boat, I don't water ski. I like blondes, Chevrolets, Dale Earnhardt, Mack trucks, and Klondike bars, and pulling. And that's my life.
A fine life it is, I might add. I like it. And folks, if you don't think guys like JR are loyal to their truck make, listen to the bench racing in the truck stop someday. Let me tell you what, my old Mac will blow the trailer off the back of that Marm and any Kenworth that gets in my way. In the middle of the night on some of the western states that have rather loosely enforced speed limits, trust me, they get it on. Here's an added touch. JR has got some glow plugs in there. He pipes some gasoline, a little tank, and puts on a show for the band. This was Steve Burns, Pick the Click. JR Ray Collins, oops. He's got to go 289.3 feet right now to get into the pull-off, and I don't like his chances.
No, I don't think he...
Obviously not a good hook, but just I found that yesterday. I got a text on Saturday morning that he had passed away, and I said, well, I'm not going to post anything until we confirm it, and then I started seeing some of the posts later in the day. So then I put something on the page Sunday morning, but it's been neat. Like, Ryan said he saw Heather Hams. I'm glad for social media for stuff like this, guys, to interview the Holman brothers. And I'm telling you, when they showed up in Rock Valley, that was an Elvis sighting.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
I
remember that, Ryan. I mean, you got a hold of me right away. Like, they're here.
Yes. Yeah, I think you were you and Dusty and Gerbaugh were the first people I texted. Said, guys, you're never going to believe this.
That was that COVID summer, right? When people were just looking for hooks. Yep.
Yeah, that was the year of it. In looking back for Cody and I especially, and Charles to a certain degree as well, that COVID year, for all the horrible things that it was, holy crap, it was lightning in a bottle for those of us if you lived out in the Midwest.
Yeah.
My goodness, a
lot of doors got opened and things got seen that summer that probably would not have happened had it been a normal year.
People met. There were friendships established. People pulled in places that they never pulled in before. Holman brothers never pulled in Rock Valley before, but they said they'd love to come back.
Yeah.
You know, and and there are stories like that from all over the place. That incidentally, Colin Ross showed up that weekend in Rock Valley, and he said he'd love to come back sometime if it didn't interfere with the schedule and it weren't 8,000 miles away. That was his only beef with it, was that it was so far away. He said it was a well-run event, and and it was a good track and good competition. And and I'm not the hype man for the Outlaws, but there was that year had some really, really, really amazing moments in it that'll probably never ever be repeated.
Yeah. Well,
and that was what made it so cool.
Yeah, I agree. It was that was the year that everybody mixed it up a little bit. I think it opened a lot of eyes to what else is out there. But the traveling is the hard part.
Yep.
Yeah, but we didn't have high-priced diesel back then, is what it is now either. So it wasn't that bad. So
it was just the time.
Yeah, it's just you had a couple extra hours in a vehicle compared to what you normally had. So some of them couple times a couple, but there was a ton of people that, like you said, that didn't go to tractor pulling or truck pulling ever before that thought it was cool because they actually went. So,
or competitors who had never hooked with XYZ organization, but went because that was a place where they could actually make a hook and either gather some data or at least feel normal for a weekend.
Right.
Jeremy's working on Brian Connors right now. That's way to go, Jeremy. You demand.
Sweet.
Attaboy. Because I have a question. I have a story to ask him about too.
I'll try to get him on Monday then. I'll just check his schedule. While you guys are yakking, Adam had a cool thing up there.
Funny about Brian, the one question I remember asking him when Drew and I interviewed him was point blank, do you feel with the technologies being developed, a diesel could beat an alcohol tractor? And his response was, boy, you ask some difficult questions, don't you, bud? Now here we are, whatever it is, 6-7 years later, and it's happening.
Right. That's kind of a neat setup. Unique type of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, who was it from Iowa? Somebody from Iowa put up their own tribute. There was a really good shot of that. Dustin, Wyatt Schulte, pay attention. Dustin, help me out with the last name.
Dustin
he
Donner?
put up a post. He'd gotten to wrench on it, I think. And for some reason, I think he's from Iowa.
As the Simon Says family, the Simon team has their
This is Miles Payne, the short leash Mac out of St. Harmony, Minnesota.
There's still nothing better than a pull-in semi. I don't care.
Yep.
When they get chugging down there at the end and lugging, it's awesome.
Oh, you think that's good? Go. You should. Here's a plug for Clint Tucker that he never paid me for. Clint Tucker's got a few. He does not have very many semi videos, but he's got a few classes from Toma that will absolutely blow your mind. You need to go find those, folks. They are on his YouTube, and they are typical quality for 1987, 88, or 97, 98, 2000-ish. But oh my goodness, all the heavy hitters are there. And they had some barn burner classes back then. I want to say 2000 was the best one that I think that I saw.
Charles,
it was basically, it was just like a European pull. Everybody ends up running twice.
They did that a lot with the semis back in the day.
Yeah.
Just let them run.
Yep.
This has been the picture I've seen posted the most of JR.
Yeah.
How old was JR? Does anybody know?
There's
a good one.
I don't know. I got several messages about it over the weekend, but I don't remember the answer.
I wish I'd gotten to see him, or I gotten the opportunity to shoot that truck when he was driving it.
I've got some from like 2003, but I need to scan them because that's old school film.
One of Matt Goodwin's buddies gave me a box of Polar magazines. I'm gonna start going through those. So.
That video that you showed, the chain from the sled had to have been like 6, 8, 10 feet long. That was
15, I believe.
Yeah, I used to put the extension on it.
Jeez.
Yes, absolutely right, Colin. And I'm not gonna lie, growing up in Fremont, Michigan, and West Michigan, I was probably 40 minutes from Larry Carey's shop and probably an hour and 10 from Hibbett's. It was fun to watch those guys fight it out on the track. Man, those were some powerful trucks.
The Carey boys are still at it. The Suns. We were up at Onaway Labor Day weekend doing the Canadian style racing, but we had a sled pull and they had a couple trucks there.
But not the Bighorn?
No.
Didn't I hear something about the grandson running the Bighorn last year sometime? Or was it the son? Or
possible? Actually, so the Morley celebration on the pond got rained out the NTPA hook back in August. They're going to do a pull this coming Saturday anyway there. I think they're starting at noon. It's not going to be sanctioned or anything, but the village said, no, we still want to do the event. So I don't remember what classes they're going to be there. I had seen a flyer for it on Saturday, but and this back in that same time frame, the Stagecoach and the Longhorn. 4 turbos on a V12 Detroit. You want to talk about just sounding awesome.
Yes.
What was that called, Charles?
The Stagecoach.
The Stagecoach and the Longhorn.
I gotta find that.
Was it Gary Tiger Rise who had those?
Yep.
Yeah, there's one of them.
Yep.
Four turbos on a Detroit?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Did you hear them shift?
Yeah, they were Allison automatics.
Yeah.
Burkholz just gave me an idea. He usually knows what he's talking about.
Adam, they had a couple of T800s. One was white, and I think the other was blue. It says Carey and Sons right on the door.
There we go.
That's almost back in like Windows DOS days.
Yeah. Video toaster.
Windows 3.1 probably. Well, no. Would have been 97 or 2000 by then.
Same place 3 times looking for it.
I was to go down to see how John Craig come out.
I sent this clip to John Murray. If you know, you know.
Yeah, I do.
John got a good laugh out of it.
Their hit was 46 inches high from the ground. And they end up with the chain on the eliminator as we get Ohio, the Petrine Bulldogs. from the 998 Pelican Max V8 for turbochargers.
Nothing sounds quite like an E9.
Gosh, yes, Liberty Bell. That was another one that was in that time.
What I wouldn't give to see everybody get all those.
That guy keeps standing up. What's going on?
I love that. I got to see that truck a few times in period live, and it just nothing sounds like that.
Cody's right. You don't even see the sled. The chain's so long.
Yep.
Laura would have a heyday with that chain.
Oh gosh. That's awesome.
Here's our Liberty Bell. I mean, this is all probably very new to you, isn't it?
And if it says, win a free picture, thanks to the Jim and Paul Holman 4-plate truck on the pre-commitment page here. Come on over to the
Liberty Bell might have been the first one to do the hood stack thing on a semi. That just, like, nobody had that.
And it looked cool then, too.
Yeah.
Can we do like a nostalgia poll and bring all these back out?
That's what I was getting at right then and there. Just watch this, though. If I'm not mistaken, I think Larry had the longest hook of that night. I think. He was hauling the mail.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he got out of it and coasted.
He almost Bill Millered it.
Mm-hmm.
Charles, the long chain was so they could stop him, right?
Yeah, because back then they were still hooking them on the fifth wheel. They didn't put in – that came later when they dropped them to an actual drawbar in the back of the truck that was going.
And 2002.
Heavens.
He got it up to 900 back. He was,
sure would be cool to see this one move again, wouldn't it, Charles?
Yes, it would.
last year he kind of.
I know where to find it.
So do I. It's still in the same
theoretically.
Yeah, it's still there.
Well, I guess we don't know exactly what's in there.
No, and I'm not about to go poke a hole in the tarp side.
No, I don't think so either.
I'm surprised for it hasn't moved in like 20 years. I'm surprised the weather hasn't gotten to it yet.
Yeah. It's sun bleached the tarp, I think.
Oh, it definitely has done that, yeah.
Hey, I'm still game for rat rights in my pulling.
He's in a big gear here. He had to have been moving like 40 miles an hour. Cody, what did you start to say?
I said I'm game for a rat rod semi-pulling too. Like, I'm okay with that. I could literally, like, this is the song of my people. Like, I could listen to that editing pictures all night long.
I'm not gonna lie, I have listened to some of these classes while I'm working, putting posts together and writing interesting iron, stuff like that.
Beautiful yellow Edward John A. Land from East Canton, Ohio. A truck that put out over 1 million miles on the highways and byways of the USA before it retired to be a
I kind of like the long stacks on the butterfly.
Yeah.
Racing, Minnesota.
I love how they routed the intakes. They took the headlight buckets out, and there's the old school rain cap for the air knife just closes right over the whole headlight.
Yep.
Lady yelling down in front.
Yeah, you like that? I did laugh the first time I heard that.
I'm serious. Like, that'd be wicked cool to see a lot of these old guys come out and shake the dust off a little bit. That'd be fun.
I think a lot of these trucks, well, there are a handful of those trucks that are still out and about and still running around this country. Some of them have different power plants than they did when this video was shot. But like the Lady Butterfly still runs. Miles Fain is a puller out of Minnesota. He owns the Buckeye Bulldog, and he's in the process of getting it back together. And now the JR has passed, I'm sure that is probably driving him even harder to get it back to a track near you next year.
As far as I know, Rise still has both of those trucks. They're at his place, and the only one we can't get to is Libertyville because it's in New Zealand now.
Right.
Road trip.
Yeah, road trip.
Boat. What was that? Boat trip? Is that what you said?
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Right. Exactly. I would be interested to see where these guys would shake out against if we got Gene out here with the arm bender or any of his trucks, because I mean his trucks are some of the stoutest single charger trucks that I've seen in a long time. I'd be interested to see how they would stack up. I'm sure that Gene's making more power than these guys.
Yeah,
I mean, this is
at this point.
Yeah, I mean, this is 19 years ago, almost 20. But still,
yeah, they still had white lettering tires back then.
And at some I mean, at some point, it's not about the power you make; it's about how you put it to the ground. And some of these guys did pretty well with that.
There was a rumor that he had. I don't think that that's true. Blue Ox, I think, got sold, but Prohibited and Prohibited 2, I think, are those sitting where they were parked.
What class are these pulling then? Like, because they're above a 4.1. Are they full blown pro stocks?
Just super semis.
These are super.
Yeah.
Kind of common now to see a lot of the top super semis be a single charger. Back then, almost no one was.
Right, they all were 3 and 4 charger deals.
But a piece of that too is that no one was making a 6-inch charger back then that could do this.
Right,
the availability wasn't there.
Thinking of
or common rail motors, or
thinking how tall that thing is makes me think of Death Row and putting it in the van trailer.
Yeah. Larry Carey's truck is one I've never gotten to. Well, I've never captured a shot of it that I'm really proud of, and I kind of wish that I had that chance again.
I was thinking the NTPA should bring back the white suit hat.
Say it again.
The NTPA should bring back the white suit and hat.
Charles has been leading that charge, but I don't think it's going anywhere.
I'm gonna say,
I know.
be the Charles rule. So, because as Bruce says so diligently in one of his text messages, every rule has somebody's name on it.
You better be careful. I will pop that up on the screen. Charles has it. So does Cody.
Actually, I've got one of those old school white NTPA official shirts too.
And the crowd goes wild.
Yeah, this will be for Halloween this year. I'll be Scott Doty.
On the big end of Louisville.
Number 5 in points 1 year ago.
And there you have it, a little trip through memory lane.
Yeah.
Wow.
JR came in third.
Thank you, Colin and Bruce, for JR. I hope you're blowing the big stacks up in heaven, buddy.
And I hope there's a freezer full of Klondikes next to you.
And blondes.
And blondes.
Don't keep the blondes in the freezer, JR. Klondikes only.
Oh, God.
That's what you call separation of church and state.
Hey, Charles.
It's ice cream and girl.
Did you ever think we'd get to the point where we'd have people like Holman's on our show?
No. It's super cool that we get.
No, yeah, it's very.
It's built to a point where we're respected enough that they'll take that invitation. You know.
I mean, it's just very humbling. Very humbling.
Yeah.
And yeah, that we can still have fun, but yet still promote the sport and do what we want to do, and just makes it feel pretty awesome. I don't know. I mean, it'd be dumb to realize how many hours we have put into this thing, these Monday nights, guys. But I can't imagine my life without them. I can't.
Right.
It'd be crazy. And Cody, you're our rookie. You know what I mean? And I still think of you as part of it. You know, it's just crazy. I still joke. I mean, I gotta here. If you guys hang tight with me for a second, I found a hard drive today with some stuff. Oh, Zolik, he looks so young. Oh God. Oh, I laughed so freaking hard. The old Seagate portable D drive.
I thought you were going to say floppy disk to start.
Oh, that's Oregon Trail, Cody. That's even before. That's like my second, third grade.
Zolik isn't that old.
No, he's not. There. I love you, Charles.
You and he were both in diapers when floppies were a thing.
No, we ran floppies a lot.
Lies.
Yeah.
Lies.
I'm talking 5 1/4 inch, the real floppies.
Yeah.
None of your 3.5 inch garbage.
Didn't hold.
Yeah. I remember like the first digital camera we had, like the little 3-inch CD, whatever, that no one like. I remember like we bought the digital camera type thing growing up, and nowhere around here would even process them. So like we had a bunch of photos type of thing that couldn't even process photos because they didn't know what that was.
Gotta be funny to look at those photos now. They probably all look like Super Mario 8-bit.
I don't even know like a regular CD-ROM doesn't read them, so I don't even know how you would even read those anymore.
You have a computer that has a CD-ROM drive still?
No.
Okay, just checking.
No, they make dongles. I live the dongle life. I have a MacBook, remember?
We don't want to hear stories about your dongle.
Way to go dark. Just saying.
It's after 9, Ryan. We can talk about the dongle if the dongle comes into.
No, I don't want to hear about his dongle ever.
All right.
I also ran around with those growing up, John.
All right, so I had Nathan Babler on one of my first shows, guys. you guys.
I remember that interview.
Oh my God, this is so classic. Thank you for remembering this. This is awesome.
Yeah, if you want to know where the where the tractor's name came from, you should listen to this one.
So this is in my basement in my house now, guys. This would have been, and Roos has been here. Cody, I don't think you've been up here yet. Nope. So I had Andrew stay here a couple times when he came over.
Yep.
And so there's our Churn and Dirt poster in the background, and there's my hot farm and the 401. Yeah. Anyway, so this is some of our first shows, and I'm telling you guys, like 2 people watched. It was so bad, but Zolik's like, it's fun. I'm just gonna shut up.
All right, Nathan Babler, thank you for taking time to come on the show with us here tonight. And how long? I guess the Babler family, man. You guys are very, very professional, from your rig to your tractor to the crew shirts and everything. I never quite know who everybody is. Even there's so many Bablers in the Haymaker shirts down in Mound City, Missouri. Can you put a picture of this tractor up? No, we better not. I don't know who sounded. Yeah, we haven't figured this out.
We were just like, we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, man, Nathan. Yeah, it's like having a new pro stock. We don't quite know.
We'll just stick with this right now, and so we can get the interview.
So last year, Nathan, I announced down in Mountain City, and I talked about how you had the points lead headed to Hillsboro, and you had some engine failure, and then just never quite caught back.
What do you think of my headphones, Charles?
Really, really strong this year so far.
These are
down in Mountain City. We won Saturday night. Is that right?
That looked like Dr. Dre if he was white.
Saturday night. We
right?
just went on Saturday night.
But you had a top.
We used to do stuff, man. Well, hell,
we
finished third on Friday night, and then went going on from there.
Yeah, because I saw he got off to the right side there a little bit. It just hung in there and pulled. And then you had a late hook in Freeport on Friday night when we were down there. I was able to see you, and you put the sled all the way over the left side. You guys were just kind of looking for a line to go because the distances had really gone away. Hager's sled really, really was pulling us all hard. Nathan Friday night down there, and nobody could really get up and get humping. But you put the sled way over on the left side and, kind of shot for the right corner there a little bit. You were the first one to go over 300 feet in quite a while. So congratulations on that for taking a chance. So,
well, thank you.
Where are you at in the points right now? I didn't get a chance to check yet for the Champions Tour.
But that's just us.
An all-time puller that we're good friends with here from Warren.
So we did Charles, we kind of had like a mixer board. And, oh, my God, it was so bad. It was so bad. We didn't know what we were doing. But Zolik would come over and he'd start plugging stuff in about 5 minutes before the show, and then we'd start. And it was so bad.
It's gotten how people don't realize how far in the last 6 years the ability to do something like this, thanks to programs like we use StreamYard to do this. 6 years ago, you couldn't do this. You had to have the mixer board. You had to have weird software programs and switch gear and stuff. It was a cobbled together deal to even pull something like this off.
So when I got invited to Pull In Radio Network, I paid the local radio station to go record my podcast down there, Charles.
Yeah.
And then Zolik.
I remember that.
That's how Zolik and I kind of became buddies, because he was working at the radio station, and I would pay to go in for a booth, and I would do my interview, and I would dial out. I had to pay the long distance bill. This is so funny. I had to pay the long distance bill at the radio station for my calls, because I was the only one dialing out long distance. And oh my God, John Moore, WKRP, and
pretty much, yes.
But so anyway, I would do that, and I remember I got Esden Lane was my big one. My dad lined that up for me, and I called Esden from the radio station, and then Zolik would go into the computer at the radio station and upload everything and send them off to that. I think is Ray was his name, Tuliki or whatever. And, but he's the one, Ray. He's the one who named. I mean, he's like, he goes, what do you want to do? Get out of this. I said, I just want to grow the polling. I just want more people to love it like I do. And he goes, let's call it Let's Grow Polling. And I mean, it's stuck. We've stuck with it. And I've tried all the different formats. Charles, I think when we first started, I think we were on YouTube, maybe only, probably.
That was the only one that, YouTube was the first one to offer the live stream. It wasn't Facebook or anything else. They started that.
Yeah, because Facebook wasn't that yet. And then
prior to YouTube, you would have had to go to one of these websites and you'd have to pay for it. And it was a streaming service. And oh boy, we tried that, doing a couple polls, and it took like 6 people to pull off. It was a nightmare in terms of trying to make it happen.
You and Drew really tried way harder than we did. I mean, with your own stuff in the studio and stuff like that, it was it was just so tough and then I stumbled onto the StreamYard thing, and now Facebook live stream and Ustream. There's a lot. I mean, it's everywhere. Anybody can.
Yeah.
The podcasts I do are on my cell phone. I mean, there's so much stuff now. The technology it's insane how much better it is.
It's a lot easier now.
So I just I giggled today when I found this. I couldn't wait to show you guys. But the vision was there, you know what I mean, and to do it, and now people legitimately look forward to this every Monday night, and as well as I do. I mean, when you guys messaged yesterday and you said Holmans were coming on, I'm like, this is awesome. It's so cool because they give us credibility too. Like, holy cow, the Let's Grow Pulling guys had the Holmans on. That gives us credibility. So, and having all you guys on, the as Tucker calls this Hollywood Squares or whatever.
Right.
It's cool. I'm just very grateful for our friendships, and I just
fun fact, John, since you're probably still watching, I grew up with a rotary phone still in the household. So I had to learn how to. I remember there was somebody that said, like, they asked a test question and says, "What happens if you dialed the wrong number? How do you correct that type of thing or whatever?" And it's like, well, you hung up and you started redialing around the dial.
Yeah, you apologized and said, "I'm sorry, I'll try back and get the number right the next time."
Yeah. Yep. We had
I grew up with party lines. We'd get home in Iowa and we'd have to jump on the phone and call your neighbor or whatever. Someday, guys, this will be us.
And yes, I am old enough to remember this TV show.
It's everything. It's everything.
Met a few fans of the show in Bedford on Saturday night, as a matter of fact.
Ryan, how was the crowd?
Crowd was good.
Okay,
crowd was pretty good. These guys came all the way out from Grand Island,
Nebraska.
Yeah, like the middle of Nebraska to southern Iowa.
They crossed the North Platte about 6 times, but from Grand Island to here. So yes,
pretty much. Yep.
Yeah, it's not a short drive. Let's put it that way.
Past Charles, 862 million tumbleweeds.
So Charles, I want to wrap this up, but I need to talk to you about on the show. What's this pump middle thing? Diesel supers. What's going on?
Don't know or understand why some classes are allowed to do it and others aren't.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't get it.
Okay, I don't know. You guys know I love diesel supers, and that's my dream someday. And I don't know why anybody would do anything to discourage anybody from building a diesel super stock. And that's kind of I don't know if that's Roger Peterson that started that post. Who was it?
It wasn't Roger's name on it.
But
somebody
it was
else
from his neck of the woods, right?
But the team, yeah.
We got to get Rich Wine on here. I know he'll come on. There has to be. Well, no, I'm not getting into it tonight.
Yeah.
I'm not. I just.
I received a call that my granddaughter.
Yeah, I want to show you guys. I'm gonna. Yeah. Let's do our wrap ups, and I'm gonna show a video of Shramik's 360 video of Youngblood. Charles, what do you got coming up, buddy?
I'm supposed to go to North Carolina for Rudy's Fall Truck Jam, but a decision is going to get made Wednesday on how the hurricane is going to affect that. If it looks like it's just going to be a washout, it'll likely get postponed a few weeks, but that's next for me.
Okay.
Does that mean that your direction of travel will change?
He
Potentially,
wants to,
yes.
he wants to hold your hand, Charles.
Potentially,
I do.
yes.
I really do.
Yeah,
That would actually make some. That would actually firm up some plans for me.
Yeah, if I'll know Wednesday if it gets rained out, I will probably go to Wagler's.
Okay, good. Can we, before you hit the play button, can we talk about the nature of call outs and why it's good for the sport?
No, I love what Wayman did. Jason Hill was texting me with it. I texted that to you last night, Roos. And Jason Hill was texting me within minutes saying he wants to double it. He will too. So I hope they get that pulled off. So Kincaid and Hill.
Kincaid already called Jason and said, "You're on."
Yeah, I think Jason Hill thought about throwing another $5,000 in because that's Hill's truck. We all know that. Kincaid drives it.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny that Jordan Kinderman almost got called into it. Called out of retirement with the truck. Phil Roush was about to loan him a turbo.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I love the call outs. I think it's fun. If nobody knows what we're talking about, Jason Wayman made a Facebook post that said, what, Kincaid won Silver Series, or what did Kincaid win? Western?
Yes, Kincaid was no. Kincaid was Midwestern champion.
Yep. And Wayman was Western Series.
Okay, so Built Diesel Mafia, Adam. Adam, you do an amazing job with social media. I'm proud to call you a friend. 10K for 3.0 trucks, and there'll be a crap load of them there.
Mm-hmm.
So 10 grand? 10 grand for 3.0 trucks?
5 to the win, 5 to the winner, and trickle it down after that.
Do you guys remember fidget spinners?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have drank too much whiskey Friday at the golf course and I have a new Blackstone. I'm going to the Brewer game Wednesday. I have a new toolbox from Napa Carlisle Tools.
It's about damn time you listened to me and bought a Blackstone.
Sarah called me at 7 because we teed off at noon. And I golfed with Clippy, and that's all I'm going to say. And next thing you know, they told me what I owed, and I said, ooh, I should get my checkbook because I don't have that much cash. And Sarah had to bring the truck out to get everything. And I had to get a ride home because that was a responsible thing to do. But I put my Blackstone together yesterday, and oh my God, I am so happy with that thing. And yeah, anyway. So, but I got a fidget spinner, Charles, and one of my thingies. So Tony, who builds my tractor, we were in his shop one night drinking the whiskey, and we got air guns out with the fidget spinner, and these things will break. And we don't have video of it, but it was pretty funny. That's all I'm going to say.
So back to you just keep playing with your fidget spinner.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Back to the Wagler deal with Adam's comments there. 10 grand for 3.0s, 5K for the hot farms as well. So it'll be a cool event.
This is fun.
And I've talked to a handful of pro stock pullers over the past, I don't know, week or so, and we could have a pretty okay pro stock class. I don't think 15 is out of the question, maybe more.
So, and I'm not being a smartass, but if Simons and Ron's go, that's 8, right?
No, because Simons are not going.
Okay, thank you. And I knew you would know
and
that.
Rowan's and Rowan, I don't know how many he's going to bring. I talked to Tim Vorwald. I know that one of the chassis or the rolling chassis is already sold. So theoretically the motor's out of that, and it isn't going to make any more passes because it's, Jason doesn't own it technically. So 3 from him, maybe 4.
Okay.
Talked to Lemke, or I talked to Esden real briefly. Sounds like they may be bringing some down.
Yeah, they hurt him in Monroe this weekend. So we'll see.
How many did they hurt?
Both is what I was told. But
What
they
about
also have
Wyoming?
a
What about
Wyoming?
Wyoming?
Lemke Motorsports, and they're going to be okay.
What about Wyoming's?
That's why I heard they're all hurt. But it's all rumor, not confirmed, no text messages, just random chatter. So
Damn it, Esden! I told you not to hurt him.
well, it's okay. It's okay.
Why did you not listen, Esden? You had one job.
Okay, so here we go. Schulte knows. Round is bringing 4. Okay.
I should just start a thing like I'll volunteer to drive one semi somewhere, and then I don't have to drive everywhere. Just be like, yep, I'll come pick it up. I'll be there.
That's fine. Can I ride along?
Absolutely.
I want to ride shotgun.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You don't fit in the bed, so you're going to have to ride shotgun.
Well, it's either that or I sleep or I roll in the living quarters.
Yeah.
Charles, when I won the lottery,
marginally legal.
Charles, when I win the lottery, you're going to be my crew chief.
So. Okay.
So, but no, I know that there are multiple guys who are planning on coming, and I think that we could have a pretty good show for, the pro stocks. And Adam says that there's a boatload of 3.0s coming, and I guarantee you that, there's plenty of 3.0s in Indiana, and now we know of at least one from Kentucky and one from Missouri that are going because there's $5,000 on the line.
Yep. Speaking of,
so
there was a pile of trucks at Bedford.
There were.
Good track.
Did you also happen to notice who jumped up?
Maybe
you paying attention, Cody?
No,
there were a pair of 2.6 trucks that jumped up, and I don't know if they bolted on 3.0 Chargers or if they ran as 2.6. I'm pretty sure they bolted on 3.0 Chargers to run.
Right. Yeah, because they pulled in both classes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
At least one of those trucks you're going to see down in Georgia.
Honestly, I'd be going to Wagler's to see one thing and one thing only. 2 words: shop truck.
Yeah.
Yes. I saw that teaser video.
All right, Charles, tell me more.
Yeah.
Show me more.
Jeremy has resurrected the Wagler shop truck. It's an Angler 2-wheel drive chassis with a screw-blown Duramax.
Oh, my God. Is that on his Facebook page?
Yeah.
Quite possibly the loudest truck in existence.
It's the loudest diesel by far.
Charles, did he have this at UCC that I was there?
Yeah. Yep.
No.
I think he
not
did.
Not the year that you were there. Okay. The year before.
He had something cool there that was loud, though, guys.
But that was the truck, but he has since changed it.
Yeah, he got rid of the turbos.
Yeah, in fairly massive fashion.
What's it called? What is Wagler? What? Motorsports?
Try Wagler Competition Products.
Yeah, Wagler Competition Products.
There it is.
And there's a teaser video there that will give you kind of an idea of how redonkulous this thing is. That's the one right there.
Oh, the tug of war was sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you for staying up with us so late, people. Why isn't that playing, Charlie?
Go to the next one. That one.
This just made my day. I haven't even seen it yet.
You haven't seen this, huh?
No, but I'm about to. That's a 3.6 truck, right? That's tires? Tighten the chain, fellas. Come on. Oh, just gonna sit here and spin.
I really don't feel like there's any winners there because they're both just going to dig a hole to China.
Yeah,
but it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
That was a truck I saw. I mean, whatever configuration it was, guys. So. Life's been good to me so far. Anything else, fellers?
That's it for me. I got to hit it.
Yep. Bruce?
Nothing major. We'll game day decision on whether or not I head down to Wagler on Saturday. My nephew gets married on Friday because he's a very poor planner and he didn't consult me first. And, so I may have to curtail any beverage consumption so that I can haul out of bed at dark 30 and drive down to hang out with Adam and Wagler. We'll see.
I'm a green light for that too, by the way. So
are you?
Yep.
Good. You might be able to keep me awake.
Yeah. So we may have the whole crew there.
Yep, weather permitting.
Or weather not permitting in the case of Rudy's.
Yep.
Yeah.
My best friend Doc bought a house in Punta Gorda and he's got a Ring doorbell and he's gonna live stream until the power goes out from his camera on his VRBO. So.
Wait, is Doc actually living down there or is he?
No, he bought a house down there about 4 years ago. So our wives were going to be down there. They were going to fly out Saturday out of this great Cedar Rapids International because it flies right into Punta Gorda. And they were going to come home tomorrow or Thursday, but they decided they didn't want to get stuck down there because they shut the bridges off down there. And once the storms get bad, they just say, if you're here, it's your own fault. So.
Yeah, we had a trade show that we were going to, I believe with Farm Credits that we were going to be set up at. And, that got canceled this week too.
Yep. So I invested in some 360 GoPros, and Mackenzie and Doug and the team are starting to figure them out. So here is Stramik's tractor from Sandwich, Illinois, the Youngblood. So have a good night, guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Maybe I should have invested in better internet. Have a good night. Thanks for watching our show. We appreciate you.
Congratulations, campaign the Super Rizzler at 346.18. Second place, Fred Matt Goodwin at 331.21. And Joe Degenhardt at 298.865 for fifth spot. That's valid for the Diesel Superstar class. That was a heck of a Superstar class, guys. Good run, man. Get down up here, Dan. I hope you watch it. If not, you can pull up later on your list. Once again, your doctor on the Superstar class. We've got seven to go from top side. Seven to go.
My granddaughter had been hit. The driver should have been in jail. Mandela Barnes supports No Cash Bail that puts criminals like Daryl Brooks back on the streets. Mandela Barnes doesn't have the judgment to keep our community safe.
Somebody brought up a set of keys up here. Photo, I think, with camper keys would be. So if you go back to your camper tonight, you can't get in. I got them. 3 keys on the field.
Welcome to Beer Money.
Welcome to Beer Money Pulling
Sit down.
Team.
Sit down. Shut up.
Hang on.